Por fin, el 1 de abril llega Morbius, la nueva película de Sony Pictures ambientada en el universo de Spider-Man. Jared Leto se convierte en este misterioso personaje y hemos sido uno de los pocos medios en España que han podido hablar con él y con el director de la película, Daniel Espinosa, antes del estreno. Dicen que Jared es un tipo que impone, así que al final no le hemos preguntado por Drácula con Demor 2, pero nos ha dicho cosas muy interesantes. Veamos qué nos tienen que decir.
I mean, I approach every character in the same way. I start at the beginning. I ask, the big questions: who, what, why, when, where, how. And I try to get an understanding of the circumstances and, I go on a journey to discover. And I'm fascinated by that. I love the process. I love the research. I love diving deep. I love building character. And in this case, it was a very big transformation. So in a way, I had three different characters in one. I don't know, it's a good question. It's a very strange thing that we love vampires. It's very weird, right? Drinking someone's blood. It's bizarre, but and culturally, when I was a little kid, I saw Dracula. I loved the movie, and I've always loved vampires. I don't know, there's something about it that just kind of speaks to our primal self, I think. If I'm not dead. We'll see. I don't really know yet. And I mean, I think the movie has to come out first, and then you see some kind of response, but or you feel it, I think. But it's pretty cool to have been in both, to have been in DC and in Marvel, yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. Well, in a way, they already have. That's where people watch content. But I do think that the big Marvel films have helped pay the rent. And then, hopefully there's space for other types of films to live in theaters as well. Not really. I mean, there were a few adjustments just because it came out after Spider-Man, not before. But I think it all happens, for a good reason, and it gave audiences around the world to live with the trailers a little longer, to discover this character, to learn the name, to get more familiar with it. So I think it ended up being a really good thing that we moved it so many times.
I think there are some red flags that I think exist within the kind of the fundamental Marvel contract. I don't think you're allowed to depict addiction. I don't think you're allowed. There are like these, very kind of fundamental rules. Outside of that, they pretty much leave you alone. But there is a demand from the fans. Because you're not making a movie which is, if I made, when I did Life, for example, it's a free movie. It doesn't exist before it existed and doesn't exist after, So I can do whatever I want with it. But with these ones, in many ways, like, Denis Villeneuve with Dune, or Peter Jackson with The Lord of the Rings, you enter these kind of canonized stories that are where you have to kind of commit to a tradition. So I don't think the director is free, disregarding if he says it's free, Oh, if I was completely allowed, I would have characters all the time. One of my most loved comic books is a comic book called Jessica Jones, and I love the scene where she's sitting with her best friend and the giant man is having a fight far away. You know, I think that's interesting. You know, in the same way as you remember when the comic book Marvel came out, which was about still photographer working within the Marvel universe. I always found that interesting, the idea that all these characters are within the vicinity of each other. And I think that's why Marvel lovers love Marvel. It's a world, not a character. Well, I mean, the fundamental ideas were there from the beginning. I know there's been a lot of talk on the internet about if Spider-Man that just came out influenced, and of course it did. I mean, visually when Spider-Man came out, it made certain decisions about, you know, how visually things should look, but the idea of the parallel universes were introduced in Spider-Verse, which was a Sony picture. And then Kevin Feige decided to get inspired by Spider-Verse and introduce it into his Marvel Cinematic Universe. But so when we're doing Morbius, the ideas that we had then were the ideas that we have now. Oh yeah, I mean, yes, it's also, venturing into kind of a new territory, when it comes to these kind of Marvel movies. And I'm a great fan of horror, and I'm a great fan of action. I never mixed them before, so I more kind of approached it from the idea of that they are like separate comic books, that they are different ideas every sequence, and then you put them together. Yes. I mean, it was them, but it was also, Pokemon. Yeah. So I always felt that in the comic books we allow ourselves to have a certain kind of freedom with colors and expression, and I always felt it was a bit odd that we completely strained ourselves when we're making a movie. It's not. I mean, it is a Marvel movie, and it's real within the Marvel universe, but we are allowed to have some colors and some expression, which I thought was fun. Oh, lovely. I mean, any kind of altercation of the work that you do is always interesting to watch, Oh, I wouldn't call Jared Leto's method street acting. I think he's a very committed, serious actor, and also resembles many other actors. When Denzel Washington commits to his performances, it's very similar. When he's on set, he is. When I worked with him, he was Tobin Frost from the moment he exited his trailer to the end of the day. I think that the slight difference is that Jared doesn't want you to see Jared Leto during the whole shoot. And I think it's the same necessity that Denzel has and many other actors have, is that it's hard to hold on to a character. And sometimes you need to protect yourself. And I don't find that scary. I find that a sign of motivation. I hope not. I think going to the cinema is a religious experience. I think it's very important to not just sit with our close ones, but with strangers and experience something together. It's what creates a community. A community that is larger than 120 persons are people that you don't know. Human beings are, have the possibility of kind of grasp 120 people from the idea of rumors, but above that it becomes more that we feel a sense of community because of an idea. A movie can be that idea, but to take away those moments in time would lose our sense of solidarity. And it's that same solidarity that's brought us to this society. So it would be a waste to give it away now and then go back to Stone Age,